Fisherman. In the heart of the village of Umuagu, deep in the forests of West Africa, there lived a young and hardworking fisherman named Uche. From the moment he was old enough to hold a fishing net, Uche had followed in the footsteps of his ancestors, waking up before dawn to set out on his canoe. He knew the Ogige River better than anyone else in the village, understanding its flow, the best fishing spots, and the times when the fish would be plentiful. Though he was admired for his dedication, Uche was also known for his stubbornness. Advice, no matter how wise, rarely found a place in his heart. He listened to no one, not even the elders, who often warned him that a man who refuses wisdom invites trouble. His wife, Amaka, was a kind and patient woman who bore him two beautiful children, Obina and Ada. She often worried about Uche's refusal to heed warnings, but there was little she could do to change his ways. Uche's daily routine remained the same: paddle into the river, cast his net, and return with fish. It was his way of life, and he had no intention of stopping. But what he did not know was that the river held secrets, and his actions were being watched. One early morning, as Uche paddled towards the center of the river, he noticed something unusual. The water, usually calm, was swelling in a way he had never seen before. Birds that normally sang from the trees were eerily silent, and a strange mist hovered above the river's surface. As he prepared to cast his net, the water rippled, and from its depths emerged a breathtakingly beautiful woman. Her long hair flowed behind her like waves, and her skin shimmered under the sunlight. Uche froze, his net hanging mid-air. He had heard tales of river spirits, but he never believed them, until now. Uche, the woman spoke, her voice carrying the weight of the wind. "You have taken too many of my children." Uche blinked in confusion. "Children? What are you talking about?" "I am a fisherman. I only catch fish." "They are not just fish," the woman said solemnly. "They are the spirits of the river. I have come to warn you. Stop fishing in these waters, or great misfortune will befall you." Uche scoffed. "Misfortune? I have been fishing here since I was a boy, and nothing has ever happened to me." The woman's face darkened. "This is your only warning." Without another word, she disappeared beneath the water, leaving behind only ripples. Uche, shaking off his unease, cast his net once more, ignoring the warning that had just been given to him. Days turned into weeks, and Uche continued fishing as if nothing had happened. Then, tragedy struck. His son, Obina, suddenly fell ill. It started as a simple fever, but within days, it worsened. The village healer tried everything, but nothing worked. Obina grew weaker, his body frail, and one fateful night, he took his last breath. Grief consumed Amaka as she wailed through the night. Uche, heartbroken, tried to comfort her, but deep inside, he refused to believe this was anything other than bad luck. He still did not connect his son's death to the warning he had received. Then, weeks later, his daughter Ada fell sick as well. Her condition mirrored her brother's, and despite every effort, she too passed away. Uche and Amaka were left childless, drowning in sorrow. The villagers murmured among themselves, speaking in hushed voices about Uche's stubbornness. Some claimed he had been cursed, others believed he had angered the gods. But Amaka knew in her heart that it was the river spirits. Still, Uche refused to believe. As grief settled over their home like a thick fog, Uche decided to seek answers. He traveled to a neighboring village where a powerful native doctor resided. The old man listened as Uche recounted his tale, the mermaid's warning, the deaths of his children, and his refusal to stop fishing. The native doctor sighed heavily. "You were warned, but you did not listen. The spirits of the river do not give idle threats. You have angered them, and they have taken your children in return." Uche's hands clenched into fists. "What can I do? How do I make things right?" "You must go to the river and beg for forgiveness," the healer advised. "Until then, your suffering will not end." Uche left the healer's hut deep in thought. Would he finally listen? Seeing her husband's internal struggle, Amaka decided to take matters into her own hands. She walked to the river and knelt by its banks, tears streaming down her face. "O great spirits of the Ogige River, please have mercy on my husband. We have lost everything. I beg you, forgive him." A soft breeze rustled through the trees, and a gentle voice whispered in the wind. "Your plea is heard, but the lesson must be complete." Months later, Amaka discovered she was pregnant. Joy returned to their home, but a lingering fear remained in her heart. When she gave birth, it was to a beautiful baby girl, Nena. Uche, though overjoyed, still refused to believe in the power of the river spirits. But the spirits had not forgotten. One day, when Nena was 4 years old, Uche once again took his canoe and set off to fish in the river. He had convinced himself that all the warnings were superstition. As he cast his net, he smirked. Nothing bad has happened. It was all just coincidence. But the spirits had other plans. From the moment Nena was born, she was different. As she grew, she exhibited strange behavior, talking to unseen forces, wandering to the river alone, and causing misfortune wherever she went. The village began to fear her presence. Uche, now drowning in misfortune, finally realized his mistake. Desperate, he ran to the river, fell to his knees, and begged, "Please, forgive me. I will never fish here again." The river answered with silence. That night, Nena fell ill. Before she took her last breath, she whispered, "Your suffering ends here." True to her words, Amaka conceived again, and their fortunes changed. Uche, forever humbled, never fished in the Ogige River again. Instead, he became a storyteller, warning others never to repeat his mistakes. And so, the stubborn fisherman learned the hardest lesson of all. When the spirits speak, one must listen.